The Wendigo, its eyes are ice and indigo, its blood is rank and yellowish, its voice is hoarse and bellowish, its tentacles are slithery and scummy, slimy, leathery, its lips are hungry, blubbery, and smacky, sucky, rubbery. Hey spooky siblings, my name is Red and this is Left on Red, Scary Mondays. Today's Scary Monday is all about true Wendigo stories. Our first story today is by Chillin' and Godzillin'. Hi, so this is my first post on Reddit. I just wanted to share the story and see if something like this has ever happened to anyone else. Just to start off with some backstory, my group of friends had started making a nasty habit of joking about Wendigo. My friend Stacy and me didn't for a while, just due to the fact that we believed in the supernatural. But after a few months, it grew on us. And not knowing that the Wendigo can actually be triggered by such things, we joined in. Biggest mistake ever. I just moved into the country and we enjoyed making trips into town to have a few drinks, which is about a 30-minute walk from my place to town. At night, the first 10 minutes after leaving the bridge that leads out of town is pitch darkness with no street lights. After that, street lights are very sparsely placed, which can cause for a very creepy walk back without anything happening. So, with that all in place, let's continue. Stacy and I begin our night walking into town, get some beers, and have some fun. Shortly into the night, something slightly strange happens. We receive a phone call from her little sister at home, crying and scared because she saw someone sitting on my friend Stacy's bed. She calms her sister down and asks her cousin to check her room for her sister at home. Everything is fine. No one in the room. Also, ghosts and weird things happening at her house were very common, so a sighting like this was strangely irregular. We continue our night. Into the night, we meet a guy who seems pretty cool. He's riding a bike and tells us he's pretty drunk or something. We decide to hang out with him for a bit, wanting to meet people in town. A ways into our hangout, we are sitting on a park bench and the guy is laying on the ground in front of us. Suddenly, my friend stands up and says it's time for us to go. I shrug and agree, and we get going. After getting away from him, she tells me how the guy bit her ankle the day after she had teeth bruises on her ankle. Kind of flustered the guy would do that, we continue our walk out of town. Finally, we pass the bridge, which is our last source of light for the next 10 minutes. We turn on our phone flashlights and we turn on some music, trying to ease the spooky feeling of being in pitch darkness in the middle of nowhere. Suddenly, we hear a voice behind us. We both jump. It's the same guy on his bike. He asks us if he can follow us until we reach the fork in the road. We need to go left and he needs to go right. Still slightly creeped out, but almost at the street lights and the fork in the road, we agree. Regardless, he had to go that way and so did we. After a bit of walking, we finally reached the fork in the road and the first street light. We sighed with relief, hoping he would leave. But he turns down our way instead of going the way he needs to go. Now at this point, we are thoroughly creeped out. We try to ignore it and keep walking, holding our breaths, wanting to reach the next street light, which is some ways away. Finally, after what felt like forever, we reached the next street light, which is also for some reason a small graveyard. I hate my area. Once we reach the street light, the guy stops dead in his tracks and doesn't move any further past it. As we turn around, the guy looks like he has suddenly passed out on his bike. His head and shoulders slumped. I was about to say something to him, but my friend stopped me and said we really needed to leave him. I agreed, not wanting to be around him much longer either. After a few seconds, I take a peek over my shoulder. He's gone. Vanished. The worst part is even if he had turned around and started pedaling as fast as he could, we still would have been able to see him some ways down the road. I panicked, but also slightly relieved he wasn't there anymore. We continue walking, trying to pretend we aren't creeped out. Walking quickly from streetlight to streetlight, finally we reach my driveway. My driveway is a long road of darkness. We hadn't put any lights in yet to try and brighten it. We began to move slowly, holding our breath. Some weird feeling of dread coming over me the closer and closer we got to my house and the further into the driveway we entered. I don't know what came over us, but the sudden feeling of you need to run and you need to run fast came over us at the same time. We took off, bolting at the exact same time without having to say a word to each other. We got to my door. I unlocked it quicker than I ever have before. We get inside. Just as I'm about to close the door, this hellish scream or growl, whatever the sound is, comes out of nowhere. I could hear it getting close to the door and steps. I slammed the door close and locked it, and dropping to the ground in fear. We both sat there holding our breaths, scared to even breathe. Fast forward a couple weeks, me and my Stacy had forgotten about what happened. Suddenly it came up in a convo, and we tried to find the sound we heard. Nothing worked. We looked up every possible animal, even animals that weren't likely. We spent an hour on this until we decided to look up the sound of a Wendigo. It was the only sound that fit perfectly. We don't joke or talk about it now. I won't. I hate to. Even writing this post made me feel scared to bring it up. And dear listeners, if you're curious what a Wendigo sounds like, take a listen. And that was Scary Monday's True Wendigo Tales. My name is Red, and this is Left on Red. If you like this video, press the like button and subscribe to join the spooky siblings. And don't forget to press the bell notification if you would like to be haunted by me. Until next time.